the watchers in the shadows. The red warning light pulsed silently in the observation deck of Lunar Station 7, hidden deep within the crater Tycho on the moon's far side. Captain Rebecca Torres pressed her palm against the cool metal surface of the console, watching the data stream across her screens. For 25 years, she had been monitoring the galaxy's greatest war from the shadows, and today brought news that would change everything. "Captain, we've got movement in the Proxima sector," called out Lieutenant Johnson from his station. "Zelnar battlecruisers, at least 15 ships. They're heading toward the Corvini supply routes." Rebecca nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the starlight filtering through the station's reinforced windows. The Zelnar Empire and the Corvini Federation had been tearing each other apart for a quarter-century, and Earth had watched every battle, recorded every weapon discharge, analyzed every tactical decision. While the galaxy burned, humanity had learned. Dr. Michael Chen approached her station, carrying a steaming cup of synthetic coffee. The xenobiologist looked exhausted, his usually neat black hair disheveled from another 16-hour shift in the analysis lab. "The latest battlefield recordings are ready for review," he said quietly. "The Corvani are using a new energy weapon. It's based on principles we've never seen before." "Show me," Rebecca ordered, transferring the data to the main display. The holographic projection filled the center of the observation deck, showing a battle that had taken place 3 days ago near the Vega system. Corvini ships, sleek and predatory, engaged a Zelnar fleet in a dance of destruction that had become all too familiar. But something was different this time. The Corvini vessels fired beams of pure white energy that seemed to ignore the shields entirely, cutting through their massive battle cruisers like a hot knife through butter. "Plasma channeling through subspace," Dr. Chen explained. "They're bypassing normal space-time to deliver the energy directly to the target. We've theorized about this technology for years, but they've actually built it." Rebecca studied the tactical display with growing concern. Each alien faction had been developing more devastating weapons as the war progressed. The Zelnar had their gravity bombs that could crack a planet's crust. The Corvini had their phase missiles that could materialize inside an enemy ship's hull. And through it all, Earth had remained hidden, appearing to be nothing more than a primitive world with basic radio technology. "Any word from the Mars team?" she asked. "Colonel Martinez reports they're still working on the wreckage," Dr. Chen replied. "The Corvani scout ship that crashed in Valles Marineris 3 months ago is yielding some interesting results. Their computer systems are more advanced than we thought, but their security protocols are surprisingly primitive. The crash had been a gift from the universe. A lone Corvini scout, damaged in a skirmish with Zelnar forces, had limped into the outer solar system before its engines failed. The ship had crashed on Mars, and within hours, a team of Earth's best scientists and engineers had been secretly dispatched to recover it. The official story was a geological survey mission. The reality was humanity's first chance to examine alien technology up close. "Captain Torres," came a voice from the communication station. "Priority message from Earth. Command, Admiral Harrison wants a full briefing in 1 hour." Rebecca sighed. Admiral David Harrison commanded Earth's most closely guarded secret, the Solar Defense Force, for 25 years. While the galaxy assumed Earth was defenseless, humanity had been building ships, weapons, and defensive systems that incorporated lessons learned from observing the galactic war. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt produced vessels that looked primitive from the outside but incorporated hybrid human-alien technology within. Weapon platforms disguised as mining equipment dotted the outer solar system, and throughout it all Earth's leaders had maintained the illusion that humanity was unaware of the greater galaxy. "Sir," Lieutenant Johnson called out, his voice tight with tension. "Long-range sensors are detecting something. Multiple contacts, bearing 27 Mark IV, just past the heliopause." Rebecca's blood ran cold. The heliopause was the boundary, where the solar wind met interstellar space. Nothing should be there except empty void. "How many contacts?" "At least 20 ships, sir. They're not broadcasting any identification, but the energy signatures match both Zelna and Corvini vessels." Dr. Chen moved to the sensor station, his fingers dancing across the controls. "Captain, these readings don't make sense. Why would both factions be traveling together? They've been trying to exterminate each other for decades." Rebecca stared at the display, her mind racing through possibilities. Then the terrible truth hit her. "They're not together," she said quietly. "They're hunting each other, and the chase has led them here." The implications were staggering. For the first time since the war began, major fleets from both factions were approaching Earth's solar system. If they fought here, the debris alone could devastate the inner planets. If they discovered Earth's hidden capabilities, the secret that had protected humanity for a quarter century would be exposed. "Get me Admiral Harrison immediately," Rebecca ordered, "and prepare a full tactical analysis. We need to know everything about those ships, their weapons, their intentions, and their capabilities." As her crew scrambled to gather intelligence, Rebecca found herself thinking about the choice that had been made 25 years ago. When humanity had first detected the galactic war, Earth's leaders had faced a terrible decision. They could announce their presence and risk being dragged into a conflict that had already consumed hundreds of worlds. Or they could remain hidden and hoped the war would pass them by. They had chosen to hide, but not to remain defenseless. The Solar Defense Force had been created in absolute secrecy, its existence known only to a handful of world leaders and military commanders. While publicly, Earth continued to launch primitive chemical rockets and broadcast radio signals, secretly. Humanity had been reverse engineering alien technology and building weapons that could rival anything in the galaxy. The strategy had worked for 25 years, but now, with alien fleets approaching the solar system, that strategy was about to be tested. "Captain," Dr. Chen said, looking up from his analysis, "I'm detecting weapons signatures from both fleets. They're not just passing through, they're preparing for battle." Rebecca closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. In the next few hours, decisions would be made that would determine whether humanity continued to hide in the shadows or stepped onto the galactic stage. The war that had consumed the galaxy for 25 years was about to come to Earth. "All stations, prepare for emergency protocols," she announced. "This is not a drill. Contact all hidden installations throughout the solar system. Operation Darkwatch is now active." Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities began to stir. On the far side of the moon, massive hangar doors opened for the first time in decades. In the asteroid belt, mining ships that were actually disguised warships began shedding their camouflage. Near Jupiter, a space station that officially didn't exist began charging its weapons systems. Admiral Harrison's face appeared on the main screen, his weathered features grim with determination. "Captain Torres, I've reviewed the sensor data. This is what we've been preparing for. The question is, are we ready?" Rebecca looked around the observation deck at her crew. Men and women who had spent their entire careers watching and waiting. They had studied every battle, learned from every mistake, and prepared for every possibility. Now, finally, it was time to discover if 25 years of preparation had been enough. "Sir," she said, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment, "we're as ready as we'll ever be." The alien fleets continued their approach, unaware that they were being watched by sensors they couldn't detect, tracked by ships they couldn't see, and heading toward a world that was far more dangerous than they could possibly imagine. Earth had remained hidden for 25 years, but the time for hiding was about to end. The galaxy was about to discover that the quiet little world in the outer rim had been preparing for this moment all along. The reckoning begins. The first shots were fired at 0347 hours, Earth Standard Time, just beyond the orbit of Pluto. Captain Rebecca Torres watched from Lunar Station 7 as the battle unfolded on her screens. 20 alien warships engaging in a deadly dance that lit up the outer solar system with weapons fire. The Zelna Empire's massive battle cruisers, each the size of a small city, traded devastating blows with the Corvini Federation's sleek destroyers. What neither side realized was that every weapons discharge, every tactical maneuver, every communication was being recorded by humanity's hidden observation network. "Captain, we're getting interference from the battle," reported Lieutenant Johnson. "The energy weapons are disrupting our outer sensor nets." Dr. Michael Chen looked up from his analysis station, his face pale. "Rebecca, you need to see this. The Corvani are using their new subspace plasma weapons at full power. If they miss their targets, those beams could hit the inner planets." Rebecca felt ice forming in her stomach. A missed shot from a Corvani plasma cannon could sterilize Mars or devastate Earth's moon. The aliens were fighting their war with complete disregard for the solar system's inhabitants, just as they had done throughout the galaxy for 25 years. "Get me Admiral Harrison," she ordered. "Emergency priority." Admiral David Harrison's image appeared on the main screen within seconds. Behind him, Rebecca could see the controlled chaos of Earth Command's war room deep beneath the Colorado mountains. Officers moved with practiced efficiency, implementing plans that had been refined over 2 decades of preparation. "Captain, I've been monitoring the situation," Harrison said grimly. "Both fleets are now fully engaged. The Zelna have deployed gravity bombs, and the Corvani are charging their phase missiles. This battle is going to tear up the outer system." "Sir, we can't let them continue," Rebecca replied. "If their weapons miss, they could hit populated areas, the Mars colonies, the Jupiter mining stations, even Earth itself." Harrison was quiet for a long moment, and Rebecca could see the weight of command in his eyes. For 25 years, he had been the guardian of humanity's greatest secret. Now, he was about to make the decision that would change everything. "Captain Torres, prepare for Phase 1 revelation. Contact Commander Sarah Kim aboard the Defiant. It's time to introduce ourselves to the galaxy." Rebecca's heart pounded as she opened a secure channel to the asteroid belt. The EU's Defiant was humanity's most advanced warship, built in secret. Over the past decade, using technology reverse-engineered from alien wreckage and improved upon by human ingenuity. From the outside, it looked like a simple mining vessel. Inside, it carried weapons and defenses that would surprise even the most advanced galactic civilizations. "Commander Kim, this is Lunar Station 7. You are authorized for reveal." Repeat. "Authorized for reveal." Commander Sarah Kim's voice came through the channel, calm and professional despite the magnitude of the moment. Lunar Station, this is Defiant. We copy. Beginning approach to the combat zone. All systems are green. Throughout the solar system, other hidden ships began to move. The deception that had protected Earth for 25 years was about to end, and humanity was about to announce its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. The Defiant shed its disguise as it approached the battle zone. Outer hull panels fell away, revealing sleek armor plating and weapon arrays that gleamed in the starlight. The ship's true form was unlike anything in the galactic database, smaller than most alien warships, but clearly advanced, with design elements that suggested a completely different approach to space combat. Unknown vessel, came a transmission. From the Zelna Fleet Commander, you are entering a combat zone. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. Commander Kim's response was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that both fleets would hear humanity's first official message to the galaxy. This is Commander Sarah Kim of the United Earth ship Defiant. You are fighting in Earth's solar system without permission. Your weapons' fire threatens our colonies and civilian populations. Cease hostilities immediately. The silence that followed was deafening. Rebecca could imagine the confusion aboard the alien ships as they processed this message. Earth wasn't supposed to have space-capable vessels. Earth wasn't supposed to have colonies. Earth wasn't supposed to exist as anything more than a primitive world on the galactic rim. The Corvini fleet commander was the first to respond, his voice carrying the typical arrogance of his species. Earth, our records show that system contains only a primitive species with basic technology. You cannot be from Earth. Your records are incomplete, Commander Kim replied. This is your final warning. Withdraw from our system, or we will be forced to take action. The Zelna commander laughed, a sound like grinding metal. One small ship against 20 battle cruisers. Your courage is admirable, but your judgment is flawed. Surrender now, and we may allow you to live. Rebecca watched the tactical display as both alien fleets began to turn their weapons toward the Defiant. The human ship was vastly outnumbered, but she knew that appearances could be deceiving. Commander Kim had trained for this moment for years, and the Defiant carried surprises that would shock the galaxy. Defiant, you are clear to engage, Admiral Harrison transmitted. Show them what we've learned. The battle that followed would be analyzed by military strategists for decades. The Defiant moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen, its engines producing thrust vectors that seemed to defy physics. Where alien ships relied on brute force and overwhelming firepower, the human vessel used precision and innovation. The Corvini fired their subspace plasma cannons, beams of pure energy that should have cut through the Defiant's hull like paper. Instead, the beams were deflected by shields that incorporated principles no galactic civilization had discovered. The energy was not just blocked, but absorbed and redirected, turning the aliens' own weapons against them. A Zelna battlecruiser launched a gravity bomb, a weapon that could collapse a ship's hull by manipulating space-time itself. The Defiant responded with a device that Dr. Chen had developed based on theoretical physics, a gravity nullifier that created a pocket of normal space-time around the ship, making it immune to gravitational weapons. But the most shocking moment came when the Defiant revealed its primary weapon. Instead of energy beams or missiles, it fired something that looked like a simple metal projectile. The Corvini commander actually laughed when he saw it approaching his ship. The laughter stopped when the projectile passed through his shields as if they weren't there, penetrated his hull without causing an explosion, and began broadcasting. a message throughout his ship. This is a demonstration. Your weapons and shields are ineffective against our technology. Surrender now, or the next projectile will not be a messenger. The projectile was a masterpiece of human engineering, a quantum-phased penetrator that could pass through most forms of matter while remaining solid enough to deliver its payload. It was a weapon that said more about human ingenuity than any energy beam ever could. Within minutes, both alien fleets had ceased firing. The Defiant had disabled 3 ships and demonstrated that their most advanced weapons were useless against human technology. The balance of power in the solar system had shifted dramatically. "This is impossible," the Zelna commander transmitted. "How does a primitive species possess such advanced technology?" Commander Kim's response was delivered with quiet confidence. "We've been watching your war for 25 years. We've studied every battle, analyzed every weapon, learned from every tactic. Did you think we learned nothing?" The implications hit both fleets simultaneously. If Earth had been observing the galactic war, they knew the strengths and weaknesses of every major military force. If they had been developing countermeasures to alien technology, they might be more advanced than anyone had imagined. Ambassador Alina Rodriguez's voice came through on diplomatic channels, her tone professional but firm. "I am Ambassador Elena Rodriguez, representing the United Nations of Earth. We are prepared to negotiate a peaceful resolution to this incident, but only if both fleets withdraw to a safe distance from our colonies." The next few hours saw the most intensive diplomatic activity in human history. Both the Zelna Empire and the Corvani Federation had to completely revise their understanding of the galactic balance of power. Earth wasn't just another primitive world, it was a technological powerhouse that had been hiding its capabilities for decades. General Jiang Wei coordinated the solar system's defenses as more alien ships arrived, drawn by reports of the impossible battle. Dr. James Patterson's weapons development teams worked around the clock to prepare for whatever might come next. And throughout it all, humanity maintained the position that had served them well for 25 years. They wanted peace, but they were prepared for war. The galaxy would never be the same. The quiet little world on the outer rim had revealed itself to be one of the most advanced civilizations in known space. The war that had consumed hundreds of worlds for 25 years had finally met its match, and that match was humanity. Earth had stayed out of the galactic war, but when the war came to Earth, everything changed. The age of human isolation was over, and the age of human influence had begun. Asterisk.